So what we're going to do now on the topic, not as much about facial recognition, but image recognition and some of the tools that you can use and taking them to the next step from what we may have done before. So, all right. So starting off in the agenda, and maybe Nick could put this link also in the chat. I have created some documents. I already have this open. And so Sarah was talking about Teachable Machine, and I know we talked and had you folks play around in Teachable Machine before. But what I'd like to show you is one way that you could train your model and then export it and put it into a Scratch program. So, I mean, it's up to you if you just want to watch me walk through this, or if you want to try to do it along with me. That's up to you, but keep in mind you also have that asynchronous time also. If you want to try to do it on your own, if you get stuck, you can always come and ask questions. But what this actually does is we're going to use Teachable Machine to create the model, but actually use Machine Learning for Kids version of Scratch 3 in order to use that model. And the first example that I want to take you through is actually going to be a simple one. It's not going to be a facial recognition at all, but rather something like a cat versus dog. Now, if you have some kind of model up already in Teachable Machine, you could go ahead and open that one up. Excuse me, if you want to, you could quickly create one. Or I have a third option for you. I saved my model, and if you go into your shared folder for this course, and here's the folder that Nick created, and I put a folder in there, and I'm sorry to bury into so many folders, but I actually want to put a lot of things out here for you folks so that you can get to it easily later. And this is all completely optional stuff. But in Teachable Machine, you have the option of downloading the Teachable Machine project, and I have done that. So you can come here and you can right click on this and you can choose download. So now you're going to have a copy of that on your computer. And I'm going to open up Teachable Machine. Whoops. Teachable Machine, not something else. All right, I'm going to go in here. And I'm going to start an image project. Actually, hold on. Yeah, so go up here to the top left menu, and I do have it in my drive, but I also want to show you that there's other options down here. So if you just downloaded that one, you can choose open project from file. And here's the project I just downloaded. And there you go. So this is a quick way, of just, getting past that initial step of creating your model. Of course, you'll still have to train it. This shouldn't take too long. There you go. That didn't take too long. I have to turn off the input. And if you wanted to, you could test it, but with some pictures and things like that. But I've tested this one before. I've used it before, so I know it's pretty good at recognizing the difference, cat and a dog. But here's the new part. So what we're going to do is over here is click on Export Model. And what this is going to do, and Sarah has mentioned before in the collabs and other things in the advanced programming part of artificial intelligence, is using a library called TensorFlow. So what you're going to do here is it should automatically be set up to save it as a TensorFlow file. And what you want to choose to do is upload the model, because what we are finding out is that Google is going to host this model for you, which is pretty cool. So you click upload, and you again have to wait a little bit. And again, it shouldn't take, there it goes, didn't take too long. But once you see this green message, your cloud model is up to date, what you want to do is you want to copy this link. So I'm going to put this, it's going to put it into my clipboard. So I'm going to save that link. Okay. So we chose to export the model. We uploaded it to the cloud. We got a link to it in the cloud. And what we're going to do next is we're going to go to, let me make sure I'm getting into the right one. Okay, so we just did steps 1, 2, and 3. Step 4. Okay, we did step 4, also copied the link. Right now in the document, we're on step 5, which is we're going to go into machine learning for kids. And I have a link here to a page because, and we're going to talk more about all of what's in here tomorrow. But what we're going to do is we do have a pre-trained model, but it's ours that we just created. So we're going to scroll down to the bottom of this page. And here is, did you make your own TensorFlow model? And we did. So we click on the open a TensorFlow model, and we paste in that URL that we just copied. And it's a teachable machine model, so it already defaults to that. So we're good there. And we click Open Scratch. All right. So you will notice if we go over here and look at our blocks down at the bottom, we have some new blocks that have been brought in from our TensorFlow model. And so we can get a label, which in our case would be a cat or a dog. Excuse me. We can also get the confidence level of it. And we can get a block that is, you know, the choice of the labels that we set up. Okay, so this is pretty cool. And people are putting stuff in the chat, and I'm sorry.
Yeah, let me, one question from me is, can you make your Scratch a little bigger to read those, or is that not possible?
Here, what I'm displaying, or over in the document?
Here in the Scratch, yeah, just to make that a little bigger. And then Jennifer asked, do we have to register and have an account on machine learning for kids?
Actually, no, but I'm finding out if you want, you know, well, we didn't actually create this in machine learning for kids. We're just using their Scratch 3. Whoa, that was really big. That's too big. So to do this, did you notice I'm not even logged in? So for what I'm showing you here, no, you don't even have to log into your account. But there's some other things that I will show you in a little while that you would want to have an account. Okay. All right. Does that better there? All right. So now what I want to do is we're going to notice that there's also these images blocks. And one says costume image and the other says backdrop image. So what we're going to do is we're going to make our Scratch sprite here, change its costume, and then use our machine learning model to react to that costume in some way. So I'm going to bring my own notes over here so I can see them. All right, so I think, yes, if you scroll down in my document, you can see the code. I'm actually going to cheat and use the code there as well. Okay, so when this sprite, well, what we want to do first is we want to go over to costumes. And here's our Scratch. And I'm going to leave the cat there. So I honestly don't know how it's going to label Scratch the cat itself. But what you want to do when you're in here is you want to create another costume. So I'm going to go down here and I'm going to upload from my costume from my computer. I have a couple pictures on my computer of cats and dogs. Actually, I have to go to my desktop. Here's a cat picture. Okay, so there's a cat picture. And then I'm going to upload another one. So I'm just adding costumes. Surely I have a dog. Yes, here's another dog. Here's my dog. And just because I like to do this, I have to go get my, where's my Yoda? Yep, I got to upload my Yoda picture. Okay. All right, so I added some costumes to my sprite. And now I'm going to go back to my code and I'm just going to follow what's in the document. So when I click on, when this sprite is clicked, I'm going to go to the next costume. And that's in looks, right? Yes, it's going to switch to the next costume. And now I want my model to go and look at the costume and give it a label. So that's in control, my if, elif. Right, and now I'm going to go down. Well, I know I'm going to need an operator. We're going to need an equals operator. And I'm going to go down to my machine learning. Okay, and I want to get the label. So I want the program to go out and label, and the data, if I scroll up just a little bit to the images right above the machine learning blocks, are these. I wanted to look at the costume. So look at the costume and label it. And if it's a cat, okay, I'm gonna have my cat say something. You know, it's like, yeah, you got me, I'm a cat. And I also put sound in. I don't think I'm gonna put the sound in right now, but yeah, I had fun. And yesterday when you guys were working, I was testing this program and my sound was turned way up and the dog bark was really loud. And yeah, it startled me. Okay. All right, since I only have 2 labels, I could just do an else and say, you must be a dog. Oops. You must be a dog. Okay. All right, so let us test this. I'm gonna go full screen. I'm gonna click on Yoda. Wait, is it working? Hey, it's not working. Oh, wait. Okay, cool, it's working. All right, so it's all the cat. It recognized the dog. I'm excited. I'm excited when things work. And yes, it always usually recognizes Yoda as a dog. Oh, but you see Scratch, and I've seen this before. Scratch and the other cat images that are in the sprites, it recognizes as a dog. Okay, so all we've done here, though, the new part, of course, is creating that TensorFlow model. We brought it into our Scratch. And all we're doing here is really testing it. This is at the point where you want to talk again with the kids, like, okay, now what kind of Scratch program would you want to do? And this is where I'm kind of like, I want your help, folks. How could you see this being used in a program? You know what I'm saying? What are some other ideas? Because like I said, all we're doing really is testing it with the Scratch program, which is the same thing that we could have done back in Teachable Machine. You know, just upload another picture and it displays a label.
Well, instead of a label, you could have it perform an action, right?
True. Yeah. Instead of it just saying something. Yes.
You could play rock, paper, scissors.
Yes. Yes.
Your hand.
Yes. You could play rock, paper, scissors. That's a good idea. Yeah. Okay. So, oh, by the way, so I rename your Scratch project. So this is my cat v dog. Okay. And me and my double capital letters. And then go to file and save to your computer. And it saves the Scratch program with your machine learning model in it. So when you do a TensorFlow like this, all right, like I'll show you, I'm going to close the Scratch window. I'm going to leave it. And instead of going to that TensorFlow one, I'm just going to come straight into their Scratch 3. Now you do have to use their version of Scratch 3. But now if I go to load from your computer and I go to my downloads and I get that Scratch program I just saved, it's in here and it's still going to work. So that's pretty cool. So now I'm not, the only connection back to machine learning for kids is opening their version of Scratch 3. Okay, but I don't need to go back into Teachable Machine because I saved it as a TensorFlow model. Now, one thing to keep in mind is Hannah, I don't know if it'll work on an iPad. If all these things work on iPad, then it should. Because all these things are, you know, working online. So I would think so. It should. Because I'm just in my browser. I'm working in my browser. Offline Scratch, no. Jennifer, I'm guessing no. I'm like 90% confident. Because if you notice that we're using the Scratch 3 version that's in Machine Learning for Kids. Okay, so yeah, even if you look up here, Machine Learning for Kids, Scratch 3, we're not using the regular Scratch 3 version. Okay, and that's what I want to show you next, Diane. I want to show you about camera input. Okay. Oh, and what I was saying though, so if you come in here and you're testing it and it's not good and you want to retrain your model, so that means like going back into Teachable Machine maybe and adding more images and running that again. So then you would have to download that TensorFlow model again.